about Deion staying in college. I think the ideal place for him would be the SEC. This joke that I say to Deion all the time, I tell him, I said, the brother's so prime time, you don't even think about him in the daytime. He needs to be under those bright lights that's shining on you at nighttime because it's a nationally televised game on ABC Saturday Night Football. That's what you think. That's what you need when you prime time. And if it ain't that, then it's the NFL.
So that's what Stephen A. is thinking. Then again, that conversation took place before this huge commitment was made to Colorado later in the day. I will admit, I have been operating under the assumption that Deion Sanders is going to go to the NFL after this season, one way or another, or at least that he wants to. That has been, if I was going to bet on it yesterday, that's what I would have bet. Should I change my mind based on the fact that this superstar quarterback is now coming to Colorado?
The only reason you would change your mind is because you respect that Deion Sanders would have the integrity to have the conversation with the kid, right? You would think that if Deion Sanders is going to leave, he would tell a young man like this, hey, look, I don't know necessarily if I'm going to be here for the tenure of your college career. See, but that ain't really how college works, though, because Deion doesn't get to say, hey, give me a job in the NFL. Yeah. Deion doesn't get to say, hey, let me go to the SEC. Do I think he wants to go to the NFL? Yes. Do I think he should go to the NFL? Yes. But an NFL team has to want Deion Sanders in their building to run their organization. So you got to plan like you're going to be at Colorado. And if you're going to be at Colorado and you're going to lose the best quarterback in college football in Shedeur Sanders, you better have someone to replace him. And if y'all watched the commitment video, it is amazing. It is a freaking movie. Shedeur is handing them the keys to the entire Colorado University because it ain't just the football team that Deion runs. And so if Deion Sanders makes a decision to leave, I believe it will be the NFL. I believe he's cut out a resume that says he's worthy of getting this opportunity. But if not, at least we know he has something in his hand to play at Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, I look at what the current state of college football is. Like, so you can commit to the kid and say, hey, I'm going to be here. But because of the transfer portal, this guy would be another hot recruiter. He can go to another destination that's going to be good for him as well. You know, I think that Deion's, of course, he wants to be in the NFL. I think that's part of the story that he wants to go. But I think he's committed. And I don't think he has to go to another destination. I think he's made Colorado a destination. You have the stars out there. You have the production. And he has the full support of not only the city, he has the full support of the college. So I think, you know, he'll go there as long as he can. But eventually, I think he leaves and goes to.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it's Colorado or the NFL. He doesn't need to go to the SEC. And as it relates to the NFL, the data is overwhelmingly against the college coach being successful. And look, there's exceptions, and Deion's played, but, you know, as Hebo reminded me, you know, all the way from Urban Meyer, Matt Rule, Greg Schiano, I mean, Nick Saban, on and on and on. Now, look, Deion's played. He's paid his dues. He's obviously doing a great job. But that information over 15, 20 years, you can't ignore that either.
But you got to throw all this new information out because it's a new era, it's a new time, and you got to think about Deion Sanders. It's a transition to a new athlete. It's a new athlete, and you need coaches now that can relate to the new athletes. That's why we see the overhaul of all the old guys being ushered out, because you have to be able to relate to these different guys.
What's your sense, Danny?
I think that's one of two things that will make him appealing to NFL teams. That the ability to relate clearly to the modern athlete, the modern young athlete. And also, when NFL teams hire college coaches, it's because they identify them as successful program builders. And we've seen Deion Sanders be that in a short period of time in two different places. So I think because of his NFL pedigree, because of the way he does communicate with his players, and because of the fact that what we saw him do at Jackson State, what we saw him do at Colorado, that's the kind of thing that gets you hired or at least looked at by NFL teams when you're a college coach.
I think the other piece is, too, Bart Scott didn't need a friend in a head coach, right? Bart Scott didn't need another father. Bart Scott didn't need a brother. Bart Scott understood the X's and O's are going to lead this team to execute in a way where we can win football games. I didn't need you to be my friend. It was cool if we could have a conversation, if we could have a relationship, but I didn't need that. I didn't have to come sit in your office so you could teach me about life. These young dudes do. These young dudes want to feel some sort of connection to their head coach. They want to feel like coach is there for me in a way that expands beyond the football field. Build me up. Make me feel good. Make me want to come into this building every day and feel welcomed. Nobody is going to do it like that dude. And the other thing is this, cachet. You need cachet with these young cats now. You need them to feel like, oh, when Deion Sanders said something, it's because I know he's been through this. He's sat in this seat. Yeah. And I'm just saying this, I'm just throwing it out. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, right, and you know how the Dallas Cowboys operate, that there was always another step to go beyond the coach, what better person to have the conversation of, hey, coach, Jerry's doing this, or what's happening around the building is bothering me in this way. What better person to be able to say, man, I understand Jerry Jones. I can talk to Jerry Jones. I know what it's like to wear that star on your helmet. Let's figure this out so we can go make plays.
Well, so that's obviously the dream scenario for people who host talk shows is Deion to go to Dallas. I see that side of it. It's the other side of it that I wonder about. Jerry Jones, I think it was you who said this earlier this week, right? Jerry Jones likes one person and one person only to be the most famous person
of the franchise.
And it isn't going to be the coach.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I don't think Jerry Jones is going to hire a head coach that's going to get more attention than he does. And I'm not saying that to be like mean and make fun of Jerry. He operates his team a very specific way, and he wants to be front and center. He's the general manager. He does all the radio hits. He talks after the game.
He wants his scrum to be the biggest after the game.
So I just don't think that's going to be what appeals to him.
But there's been an exception. He hired Coach Parcells, and they got along well. And by all counts, it went well for a period of time. So if I'm Jerry Jones and I'm saying I have to reassess where we are, Deion Sanders is an interesting guy that they're going to have to consider.
There was a specific reason at that time in history that he wanted Parcells, and they were trying to get a stadium.
Out these days, college, pro, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that just the price of winning?
You gonna talk like that with my AD in here? That's so disrespectful.
Sorry.
You gonna talk about me going somewhere with my AD in here?
The mentions of it.
Yeah, they mentioned us with a lot of other stuff before we started winning too, didn't they? Did that? That wasn't fair, was it? I'm good. I got a kickstand down. You know what a kickstand is? A lot of people don't in there and not of age don't know what a kickstand is. That means I'm resting. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm enthusiastic about where I am. I love it here. I truly do.
All right, we know Coach Prime is always good for a good soundbite. Let's bring in our NFL analyst, Lige Douzable, to talk about it. Always a little bit of spiciness, attitude in those press conferences, Lige. But let's talk about Colorado, because we're talking about them for the first time, I don't know, maybe ever, in terms of going to the playoffs, controlling their own destiny in terms of the Big 12 championship, bring in recruits. If you're Coach Prime in this point, no matter what he's saying in that press conference, if you're getting inquiries about coaching at other, Power 5 programs or in the NFL, what would you do, Lige, if you were in his shoes?
Yeah, I think you hear out what everybody is asking in regards to if you're getting a Power 5 offer or NFL offer. But I love Coach Prime's response, right? Because when he first got there, people were saying he wasn't going to be able to turn it around like he did Jackson State. And I think he's actually in a perfect position, because Colorado was the perfect place for Coach Prime and his coaching style. They literally rolled out the red carpet for him and let him use his culture and his personality to infuse it onto other players. And he's been able to do really good in the transfer portal. And you talked about it, Jack, out there in Colorado. Like, it's standing room only. And I mean, not just in the stands, Jacqueline, on the field as well. So, yes, if you're Coach Prime, maybe you inquire about what some of these offers could potentially be. But I honestly think he is content being at Colorado, because he's at a place where he could legit win a national championship because of the expansion of the college football playoff.
So you're saying he should stay. If he does stay, without Shedeur, without a two-way superstar like Travis Hunter, and we know Deion, like you mentioned, is really big in the portal. We saw a lot of turnover. Even going into this season, it was like record number of turnover there. But what do you think life looks like realistically afterwards without Shedeur and without Travis Hunter?
Yeah, there potentially could be an acclimation period. You're talking about two special guys that most likely are going to go top 5 in the NFL draft. So I don't care what level of school you're at, whether you're at Ohio State, Alabama, or Texas A&M. If you lose two guys that are going in the top 5, there's usually a small regression. Now, the thing that Coach Prime has harped about is that he's actually crossed and two-way a couple other players besides Travis Hunter. They just haven't been able to do it in games yet. So he's kind of already getting prepared for when he loses those two top guys in Shedeur Sanders and also Travis Hunter. Also, LaJohntay Wester, the receiver on the outside, will also be going to the NFL. But that's college football, Jacqueline. year in and year out, you have to re-recruit your players. You have to get ready for when guys leave via graduation or they go to the NFL. But that is where we're at in the NFL. You talked about it. There aren't few teams that did better in the transfer portal than the Colorado Buffs did with Coach Prime. So he's accustomed to essentially having a new slew of players year in and year out. And again, with his culture and the way he carries himself and the way he's able to infuse that onto players, they were able to turn this thing around quickly. Now, am I going to say, are they going to have the same success this year? Or that they're going to have next year if Julian Lewis does ultimately sign to Colorado? I'm not saying that, but who's to say that they can't still have a lot of success because he does so well in the transfer portal. And now with the expansion of the 12-team college football playoff, he can still have a lot of success at Colorado. So I think things are looking up. And then now they're doing even better in recruiting. Jacqueline, like more 4- or 5-star guys are wanting to come to Colorado.
Yeah, this quarterback was like ranked top 10 in his class from 24/7 Sports, this Julian Lewis guy out of Carrollton. Let's talk hypotheticals because we know people can't help themselves in trying to match Coach Prime, whether it's to NFL teams or what have you. And of course, in recent events happening over in Dallas, Texas with the Cowboys, a lot of folks are pairing up Coach Prime over there. But again, you talked about his culture, you talked about his big personality. What are the odds that he would go to Dallas where there is Jerry Jones, and that's a big personality in and of itself, but it looks like Mike McCarthy is probably not going to be in Dallas much longer. Lige, how realistic is that for Coach Prime to go back to Dallas and coach there in Mike McCarthy's place?
I'll say there's definitely an outside chance. The only thing is, right, Deion has a really good relationship with Jerry. And we know this about Jerry and Jerry's world. He wants a handprint on everything, right? Like people ask him about literally putting the blinds down in the stadium. He goes, why don't I just destroy the stadium and build a new one? Like he has a handprint on everything that has to do with Dallas. But that's what Deion has at Colorado. So I don't know how those two, characteristics would mesh, Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders, because they are so big personalities. Now, they do have a great relationship from when Deion was at Dallas. But again, I think if you're Deion and you look at this and you see the history of Dallas coaches and how they weren't able to kind of have their handprint on the team, do you want to leave the situation you're in now where you get to compete for a national championship and you got to bring a culture to Colorado and it's yours? It's like your baby. Like, would you leave that and go to Dallas, even though Dallas is a marquee place? But again, is it a marquee place if you're not truly in charge of how everything is done there? No. So yes, there's a realistic chance he could take the Dallas job if it was offered to him. But again, I think Colorado was the best place for him because he got to put a handprint on it. Again, it's like his baby, Jacqueline. He got to grow it, watch it develop, and now he gets to reap the fruits of his labor. Why leave now?
Exactly. And I'm thinking of Coach Prime's big personality with CeeDee Lamb, who's not afraid to speak out. And then we have Micah Parsons, who has his weekly podcast, who surely is not afraid to speak out. Lige Douzable, we appreciate it talking about.
Howdy, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to Dallas Cowboys Today, your number one source for all things America's team. If you're a diehard football fan and love our Dallas Cowboys, you're in the right place. So don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to stay updated with all the latest Cowboys news. Let's get started. Today, we've got a hot topic that could change the course of our beloved team. Do you think a legend like Deion Sanders could bring back the glory days for the Cowboys? This question is buzzing after some recent comments from Jerry Jones. Stick around until the end to get the full scoop and share your opinion. 3 o'clock, let's get straight to it. After another challenging season, Jerry Jones faces a crucial decision: renew Mike McCarthy's contract or start a new era for the Cowboys. Among the potential candidates to replace McCarthy, one name stands out: Deion Sanders. Newspaper in an interview with 105.3 The Fan, Jerry Jones was directly asked about hiring Sanders, the iconic former Cowboys player and current head coach at the University of Colorado. While praising Deion, Jones pointed out that his college success is closely tied to his unique ability to recruit top talent, a skill that's less relevant for NFL coaches. He's one of the most inspiring figures I've ever seen in the league. But I think we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves talking about this, Jones said. Broken heart, why is Deion such a hot topic? Beyond his historic connection to the Cowboys, Sanders has revitalized Colorado's football program, achieving impressive results and drawing attention from young stars like his son, Shedeur Sanders, who is expected to be a high pick in the NFL draft. Many fans believe Deion could be the leader the Cowboys need to become true Super Bowl contenders again. Flex biceps, so what's next? Jerry Jones hasn't revealed who the next head coach might be if a change happens. Other names, like Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, and Ben Johnson, are also in the mix. But the idea of a Deion Shedeur Sanders duo certainly fuels the dreams of Cowboys fans everywhere. Magnifying glass tilted left, now it's your turn. Cowboys Nation. Do you think Deion Sanders is the right choice to lead the Cowboys? Or should the team stick with McCarthy and focus on other adjustments? Speech Balloon, drop your thoughts in the comments, share this video with fellow fans, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Together, we'll follow every step of our team and discuss the possibilities for the future. American football, go Cowboys! Let's build a future of victories and championships.